It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg, and we have the mayors on the line.
Yay! Mayor de Blasio?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good news for you. It's just Rosenberg and Laura Stiles. Ebro is in Lake Tahoe, so we actually get to get a word in edgewise with you today.
You know, Ebro and his leisure life, just while the rest of us are working, right?
Exactly. All right, so listen, we're going to get, we have a few things we got to discuss, and I know you want to talk about pre-K, but I can't wait anymore. I have to ask you about one thing, which is, as an adopted New Yorker, much the way you were many years ago, I consider myself a New Yorker now at this point. I had a special sort of sadness / disdain when I watched Donald Trump and now Chris Christie standing next to him the other night. You, as a man who loves this city and cares for this city, what are your thoughts on seeing these guys, one from Jersey and one from the city, who really represent us rather poorly? What's your feeling when you watch them up there together?
I look at that with a kind of anger and a kind of frustration, because here are two people who should know better, but look at what Donald Trump did the other day when he was asked point blank to disavow David Duke and the KKK. And that was one of the most telling moments I've seen in a long time.
Terrible.
Where he had to ask questions and he had to hesitate and think about it. You know, maybe 100 years ago in the United States, someone could have gotten away with trying to pretend they didn't know, what the KKK was about. It's 2016. It's unbelievable, and it doesn't represent the values of this place. And in the end, it said so much about the opportunism and values that have nothing to do with the values of New York City. I mean, we're a place that literally is one of the great beacons of diversity, tolerance, inclusion, and he couldn't, with a whole heart, disavow the KKK. That says it all. So I think New Yorkers, a lot of New Yorkers are disgusted. I'm certainly disgusted.
Yeah, and I think he said recently he thinks he can beat Hillary Clinton in New York City. Not something I feel is likely to happen. It's looking now like, in all likelihood, Hillary should move on and get the nomination. But I do feel that Bernie has done something cool, which is show that, really liberal, really truly progressive ideas can be accepted on a pretty mass scale. He has put up some numbers that are pretty impressive considering how far left his stances are. Do you think that potentially Bernie's opened the door for some interesting candidates moving forward?
Well, I think this is very, very well could be the beginning of a progressive era, a larger progressive era in this country. And I think Bernie Sanders has raised some very important issues. I think he's really had a positive impact on the whole debate in this country. And I think what you're going to see is it's not just about candidates. Look at all the working people who fought for a $15 minimum wage over these last years. And that was literally a couple of years ago supposed to be impossible. And now it's being talked about everywhere. And so this is a combination of some leaders who have spoken up, but it's a lot what's happening at the grassroots. People fighting for fundamental change, particularly fighting against income inequality, fighting to demand more of the 1%. And I think that is a bigger change that's going to be a lasting change. But I think history will say that Bernie Sanders contributed a lot to the discussion in this country and helped us move forward.
Mayor de Blasio, so let's talk pre-K. So what's going on? Are we extending the enrollment date? And I want to know if what's happening, because I heard that will we cut back half-day programs more this year, or what's going on with that?
We are very proud to say that we extended the deadline to Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, okay. March 9th. Now, I'm going to give my quick little pitch to all my fellow parents. Let me start by saying it's free. Did I mention it's free?
Oh, yeah, it's free. We got that.
Keyword free. This is full day, high-quality pre-K. Every child in New York City deserves full-day pre-K, and they're going to get full-day pre-K for free. You need to apply by Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, March 9th. You can call 311, or you can go online, nyc.gov/pre-K. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. There are pre-K options all over the city. Now, I also want to say to parents, if you want a choice closest to your home, closest to your work, or there's a particular pre-K center you really like, your best chance of getting your first choice is to apply now, to not let this deadline pass. And the results have been amazing. We've had over 68,000 kids this current school year, and they just did a survey of them. This is amazing. We did an independent survey of 1,100 families with kids in pre-K. 92% rated their pre-K program high and were very, very positive on both what it was doing for their kids' minds, but also that their kids were happy and they were really growing from the experience. So I just want to say to parents, this is an amazing option. That anyone who knows a kid who's going to be 4 years old this year, sign them up.
Mayor, what are we going to do? It must freak you out when you see these stories about the slashing on the subway and a stabbing that occurred on the subway this week too. What can we do to? I mean, we can't put cops in every single car on the subway. So as the guy who's charged with protecting this city, what do you do to try to make this thing go away? This is a real throwback to the late '80s when New York was crazy town.
Well, I want to disagree with that for a moment. I know people are very worried, and my job is to not just keep people safe, but also address their concerns when they feel worried or they feel unsafe.
Okay.
But the numbers, let me do a couple numbers that really speak volumes, because we all remember what the subways used to be like, and the level of violence and how uneasy we felt all the time. Well, today you literally have about a 1 in a million chance in being a victim of a crime on the subway. We have 6 or 7 million riders a day. At this point, we have 6 or 7 crimes reported each day, and those are typically property crimes. Someone had their iPhone taken, for example. But relatively few are violent. And what we've seen, these incidents lately, they're very unsettling. Now, the vast majority are between people who have some kind of fight or beef with each other. Very, very few have been purely random. In fact, in the whole city, for this year, there's been 7 incidents in the subway, overground, etc. 7 incidents where it appeared to be someone with a mental health problem who did something random. Almost all those folks have been caught. So I think it has been presented as sort of a very random dynamic. That's not what we're seeing. We don't see a pattern to it. But what we're doing is adding a lot more cops in the subway, and you're going to see an expanded presence. And I think that's going to make a huge difference.
Hey, also, Mayor, one of our listeners brought this to my attention, and I just was curious. You support a program called the Tenant Support Unit, where you give back to women in East New York, single mothers, helping them fix roofs and just with stuff that they need. Is this a program that we'll see throughout the boroughs?
Oh, absolutely. Tenant Support Unit is there to help tenants with whatever their issues are with landlords. And sometimes it's they need repairs, they need heat and hot water, but other times, here's the real thing we're concerned about: illegal evictions or illegal overcharging on the rent. This year, for everyone in rent-stabilized apartments, we had a rent freeze for the first time in the history of the city, because we looked at the actual costs of landlords and we said they didn't deserve a rent increase, so we did a rent freeze. But some bad landlords, and they're not the majority, obviously, but some bad landlords try to confuse tenants and convince them they have to pay more, or harass them, or even try and evict them illegally. So the Tenant Support Unit can help any tenant who's experiencing those kind of problems. And here's the cool thing: all you have to do is call 311. And if you think you're being treated, in a way that's illegal, we will get you a lawyer for free. And this is something that didn't exist on this scale before. But now, if you believe, especially if you think you might be being thrown out of your apartment illegally, the City of New York will get you a lawyer for free. And all you have to do is call 311.
Oh, that's awesome. Rosamund, did you see that the mayor signed a bill to rename 1520 Sedgwick Ave to Hip Hop Boulevard?
Oh, really? We're gonna officially make that a part of history?
We are making that part of history. And during that ceremony, I went to great pains to remind our friends on the West Coast that they have no such equivalent place. And so, I was trying to start something. And
Mayor de Blasio trying to bring back the East Coast West Coast beef. That's a story.
It's throwback, but I liked it. I liked it.
Mayor, also another very important issue plaguing the city are Hamilton scammers. Okay, this is. I know you were able to see Hamilton. I'm sure.
I did.
And now it is so popular. Hamilton is so vastly popular that there's a multitude of people scamming people out of tickets. I'm not going to put this at the highest list of the highest line of priority for crimes being committed in the city. But this is a real life mayor.
Yeah, only in New York would you have this like beautiful play, this amazing, innovative play celebrating, democracy and human achievement, and then someone says, "I'm going to scam off of this."
Exactly. And I have 7 seats I have 7 tickets to the exact same seat.
It's like being outside the ballpark. Who needs Hamilton tickets?
I know. Can you do anything to possibly get the Knicks traded out of the city for a better basketball team?
Rosenberg.
Sorry,
man. What are you
Wait,
talking
what you're
about?
saying? Like trade them for a team to be named later? Or something?
Yes, exactly. Because this thing. Can we get the Golden State Warriors here?
I want to say, of course, that's a hell of a team. But look, I personally have a little patience and faith here because Phil Jackson's Phil Jackson. I don't believe we've seen everything yet. No one's more accomplished, right? I mean, just look at the history, look at the facts. No one's more accomplished. So there may be more to come here.
All right, very good, Mayor. We love hearing from you. I've been told now by my boss that they go, listen, we love the mayor, and he's been calling in for years, and he's a friend of the show. I've been told that if you don't come in here and hang out with us soon, we're gonna have serious problems. We want to have like a Mayor de Blasio in studio hangout, mini city hall. We'll have people call up and hang out with you in person. Will you come see us in person
I will,
sometime?
absolutely. It's going to happen soon, but I have to get one promise from you that you'll help me promote my East Coast West Coast beef law.
Mayor de Blasio, thank you so much, Mayor.
Thanks,
All
Mayor.
right, thanks, guys. Take care.
Later.